affirmation, the less you believe it, that's why you keep saying it. Maria can stay here all day long and say, no problem, no problem, no problem, it's not going to bite me, I'm not going to die. Will you hold the snake? If I say this over and over and you say it over and over, say no problem, no problem, no problem, it's not going to bite me, I'm not going to die, would you hold the snake?
I don't think
No,
so.
because she hasn't bought the belief. So what do we have to do now? We have to come up with a strategy to get her to buy a belief. Here's one of my secrets that I use. The nervous system cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality. Example, imagine for a moment my fingernails are very long and I'm going to rub them across a dry chalkboard. How many of you felt a little something? Show of hands. Now, how could you have felt something when there's no chalkboard? The reason is I painted a picture in your mind. The nervous system cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality, and then you responded. So let me ask you a question, Maria. If you had a choice, you have to choose one or the other.
Okay.
Would you rather hold an imagined snake or the real snake?
An imagine.
Look at her, she smiled. The imagined snake. Now, can I use this tool? Absolutely. Why? Because the nervous system can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. I'm going to show her how to program her nervous system so she can take her value and belief and increase it. Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask you a question, Maria. The answer you're going to give me is no problem. What's the answer you're going to give me?
No problem.
No problem. What's the answer you're going to give me?
No problem.
In just a moment, but not now, I'm going to have you hold this thing. Is that a problem?
It's gonna be a problem.
Say it.
No problem.
No problem. Very good. Was she lying? Yes. Today, I'm also going to encourage you to lie. Now, not in a deceitful way, but let me tell you what. If you don't learn to lie or fake your brain out, you will live on page 4 for the rest of your life. So what you have to learn to do, when I say lie to your brain, if you don't lie to your brain, you will be a slave to your feelings. When last have you distinguished the difference between being a leader of your feelings or a slave of them? Think about that. Every moment you're consciously awake, what percentage of that time would you say you truly lead your feelings? See, when we feel sad, we have a tendency to act sad. When we feel happy, we act happy. Now, what I'm about to share with you, I think you'll agree with me, is a lot easier said than done. When you feel sad, you should try to act happy. Why is that so difficult? The answer I'm about to share with you is perhaps the most powerful clue I can share with you in helping you master your behavior, and here it is. Anytime, and I repeat, anytime you try to do anything opposite of how you feel, you're going to feel as if you're lying. And hopefully you've been programmed as a young child, Maria, not to lie. So when you get to an emotional or a mental crossroad in your mind with a fear of failure, fear of success, rejection, anger, cold calling, it's all the same, you will have a tendency to take the course of least resistance. Do you know what the course of least resistance is when you experience a negative feeling or an emotion? And trust me on this one, if you don't, it will control you instead of you controlling it. So then what is the course of least resistance when you experience a negative feeling or an emotion? Unfortunately, it is to reward it, and you never will make change. So if we know that we are programmed to be a slave to our feelings, and here's how it happens. See, when we were born, what's the first thing that we start to do? We start to cry. When we're hungry, we cry. When we want to go to the bathroom, we cry. And how often do we do this? Day after day, month after month, year after year, we're a total slave to our feelings. Now here's where it gets a little scary. We've been told that the most impressionable part of our lives as a human is typically the first 5 years. Do you realize that if that is true, that we spent nearly half or more than half of the most impressionable part of our lives being a total slave to our feelings? So here's a clue. If you know that you and I as humans, we are programmed to be a slave to our feelings, you must have something to counteract that slavery. If you do not have a belief, a conscious belief to counteract that emotional slavery, you will live on page 4, no matter what your page 4 is, for the rest of your life. I'm going to give